What I make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide.
Man, you already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. Man, do I got a crazy video for y'all today. Today's video's got everything that everybody loves. Let me see. Gang members? Check. Violence? Check. All the above. What happens when you're in a gang and you get caught diddling, doing something you shouldn't be doing? Messing with one of them boys. Oh, yes, I said it. Messing with one of them boys. Delicious. First name D, last name Licious. How you got a name like Anyways, y'all stay tuned. I think y'all gonna like it. I didn't like having to witness anything that I saw. I didn't like having to be a part of it. But I'm gonna share it with y'all because I had to go through it. Now keep in mind, the guys messing with guys and messing with boys, it's more of a prison thing. But at the same time, them guys in prison, and they started out in jail. And you got a lot of youngins in there, a lot of young boys in there, and their cravings are really, really strong. And ain't no women like that. So some of these guys just, they give in to the pressure. They give in to what nature's calling, their urges. They just can't control them. And that's where today's story picks up and starts. How he got out of a prison gang. Caught in the act. And boys saved him. Or did they? With all that being said, you know how to seen it. You know how to lived it. So let's relive it. Now, it's no secret. I've never been too great at following the rules. Just hasn't been my thing. I'm getting better at it. But with these gangs, one thing they all have in common, for the most part, is they have rules. And from what I've seen, most of the gangs have one rule that they all have. And that's no homosexual contact. They're not even supposed to talk to the boys. Not supposed to mess with the boys. Definitely not supposed to mess with the boys. Now, you've seen your homeboys get beat up. You've seen other dudes get beat up. Like I tell y'all, it always ends bad. But somebody's always going to try the water. In comes ATL. Let me tell you how I meet this dude. When I come into the jail, that night we're locked down, I hear noise. Lots of noise. Somebody beating on the table. And for several hours, this dude would rap. He is a trash rapper. He is a garbage rapper. He's not even a SoundCloud rapper. I don't even know if they would allow him to upload his music to SoundCloud. It's that bad. But all night long, he's sitting there beating on the table and rapping. And a cellmate at the time rapped as well, or tried to rap, and he would beat on the table while ATL rapped, and then ATL would beat on the table while Bad Rapper rapped, and they would go on and go on. So this is all night. So I'm at my door, and I'm looking out like, where's this noise coming from? And then I see him, he comes to the door at one point, and he's still rapping, and I get a glimpse of him for the first time. Now, ATL's a young dude, 21 years old. He's got a good bit ahead of him. I'll get into why he's locked up, because that's another part of the story today. But at 21 years old, this boy's facing a lot of time. He's obviously from Atlanta, you would think. He's not even from Atlanta. He's from Georgia, a small county in Georgia, but they call him ATL. Bald head, light skin, 5'7", very bad face tattoos, like, you know, some people get tattoos and they're like done with a gun. No, this stuff looks plucked. It definitely looks like a needle, poke job. And these things are all over his face. It's the shittiest tattoos. And this dude is damn near bald at 21 years old. I'm talking about, you can see where the hair is supposed to be because it's dark. And this dude's high yellow, super light skin. You can see where the hair is supposed to be. And then you just see a whole bunch of yellow. And then you see the black stubs. And most time he would keep a shirt on his head or something to try to cover it up. Something happens with another gang member, a dude in their gang. I don't know what happened. I don't know what law he had broken. But after I've been in there a couple of days and I've established I do not like this dude. He breaks my peace. He makes too much noise. I don't like loud, noisy people. They get a dude in the cell and another dude's cell. Him, his cellie, and a few other guys go in there. And they jump this gang member that's in their gang for breaking one of their laws. Well, the guards see what's going on the cameras. They come in, they lock his cellie up. His cellie's the only one that's got visible marks on his hands. They all said they didn't know what was going on, wasn't no fight, blah, blah, blah. But for whatever reason, they lock ATL cellie up. So for a couple of days, he would be in his cell by himself. Now, he's got everybody up there kicking it in his cell because it's just him. Dudes are coming to the door. He's out there in the pod, writing raps at the table. And then he gets a new cellmate. Now, in this jail at the time, we had what's called mandatory rec. meaning everybody's going to rec. You're going to go out on the basketball court. They don't care if it's winter. They don't care if it's summer. And you're going to hang out. This is a basketball court with brick walls all the way around it and cage on the top. You're going to stay out there for an hour, and then you come back in. In the midst of all this, they bring in his new cellmate, D Licous. I'm just going to call him D. I'm not we call no other grown-ass man Delicious. If that's what you want to go by, cool. But I don't have to call you that. I'm just going to call you D. So we all come back in from rec after they've had their hour-long freestyle battle. The world's worst trash rappers going at it once again. He goes to his cell, something I've experienced before, and finds D. D is light-skinned as well. Probably about 6 foot tall, which is pretty tall considering ATL ain't but 5'6", maybe 5'7", with some good boots on. And D is full trans. There's no mistaking or questioning, is he gay? He's trans. On the streets, I guess he had underwent some type of hormone therapy where he was taking the pills or the injections, whatever the case may be, but he had them things were starting to grow on him. You could see him. He couldn't hide them. And not to mention, it'll bring them out of everybody. Like, if you got some funny ways in you, you could peep it if you're another inmate. All you got to do is watch closely to who's paying the most attention. And dudes, when he would walk by, would lean over and glance down like it was a woman. And then you see dudes when he walk by checking the chest out. Like, it was a lot more than just ATL. But ATL comes in at first and tries to make a stink about it. And the guard hung around in the pod. I think she knew this was going to be a problem. And she went up to the cell and heard the bickering. And she said, is there going to be an issue in here? ATL says, I ain't supposed to be celled up with these type of dudes. She said, well, this ain't your jail, and you don't get to say who you cell up with. Is it going to be an issue? I don't have anywhere to put him. And if I did, him or her, I'm sorry, I don't want to mess your pronoun up if you ever see this, I don't have nowhere to put him. For whatever reason, Delicious couldn't go to the other pods. We only have a certain amount of felony blocks. It ain't like the whole jailhouse is felony inmates. No, that's not the case. If you got felony charges, it's only like 2-3 blocks that'll hold the felony inmates. And for whatever reason, Delicious can't go to them other blocks. So they tell ATL, hey, we can move you if you don't like the situation. We'll put him in another cell. Ain't no open cells. We can move you. We can't put him nowhere else. We ain't got nowhere else to put him. We put him in here with you. And if anything happens to him, you're responsible. Have a good day. And they roll out. Now, instantly, there's friction. He comes out. The other gang members come over to the table where he's at. What you gonna do? Man, ain't nothing I can do but crash out and go to the hole. Most of these dudes rock with ATL. They're not trying to see him go to the hole. So they just pretty much tell him, man, well, you know what it is, man. Just, we all in here, do your time. They're not thinking what's going to happen is going to happen. Now, in my experience, something I have seen time and time again, a lot of times it's the guys that act the most homophobic that are really into that. They use that as a way to kind of try to hide behind what they really want to do, what they got going on inside of them, inside of their mind, inside of their body, and they want to act on it, but they can't act on it. And to keep others from witnessing what they really want to do, they turn up. They use derogatory terms. Now, ATL was big on this. Sitting out in the pod, dude will walk by, he blah, 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 blah. Start saying crazy stuff. But he's not saying it to where a dude can hear him. He's saying it amongst his homeboys. They snicker, they laugh, they join in on it. Then a couple weeks goes by, and the comments kind of calm down. His celly would come out, Delicious, would come out, would say little things. Hey, I'm about to make something to eat. You want some? Nah, I'm good. Now, he ain't supposed to be eating with him. Bloods ain't going for that. But he's asking him, so clearly he's made meals in a cell before, and ATL has ate him. Now, with the boys, listen to me now. With the boys, they will put you on Front Street. At some point or another, if you think you're going to creep around, disrespect them, do this and do that, and you've done something behind closed doors, they will put you on Front Street. So Delicious comes out one day. He played the cell a lot. He was the only trans dude in the pod. As far as I knew, he was the only gay dude in the pod, the ones that were like, more flamboyant with it. But he comes out one day and he says something to ATL. I don't know if they've been arguing behind closed doors. I don't know if they already had something brewing. But he says something to ATL. I don't know what he said. The people at the table would know. I was across the room. But then I hear ATL's response. He gets up, man, you can go on somewhere, get up on my face. Don't be questioning me with all you fruity booty ass. Like, he starts disrespecting him. And Delicious tells him, you wasn't saying that when I was y'all know what I just said without saying it. You wasn't saying that when I was on my knees and doing da 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 da. And everybody looks at ATL. ATL, what? And while the boy's in the midst of saying all this, ATL comes up from the table and takes a swing at him. Now, the boy ain't no slouch. Don't get it messed up. Gay don't mean soft. Gay don't mean weak. Gay don't mean can't fight. That's a man. Regardless of what you want to say, what you identify as, at the end of the day, he was born a man. And he's a gay man. So he's been through some rough things in life. ATL hops up from that table, tries to swing off on him, and the boy backed up, and just the stance he threw up, just the way he put his hands up, you could tell he could fight. Dudes tell ATL, nah, chill. I'm thinking they're trying to save their homeboy from getting himself locked up, crashing out right in the middle of the pod. No, they had other motives. So right before we locked down, the boy goes in the cell, ATL goes in the cell. What do we all think? To all of us, we thinking, oh, when they go in there, they're going to knuck up. ATL done jumped up, swung off, the boy done squared up with him, and the boy walked off talking crazy out his mouth. Said a whole bunch of more stuff I can't say on YouTube. But if you can do it, if two people can do it in the cell, he talked about it. ATL goes up to the cell where the boy's at, and I see his homeboys walking up the staircase with him. I honestly thought they were going to jump the boy. That's what I thought. Thought they all can go in the cell, they're going to put hands all on Delicious, and they're going to just beat him up. But no sooner ATL goes in the cell where the boy's at, I hear him say something to the boy, and I see the other gang members running the cell, and they mob down on him. They beat him down, they beat Delicious up, and this would take place for a matter of roughly about a minute. You hear the scuffling, the punching, the grunting, the slamming. Now, it's a bunch of them. You're talking 7-on-2. This fight continues to go on until the guards come running. Everybody in the cell, locked down now. If you're still out, you're going to get tased. You're still out. Yeah, they got tasers now. You're still out, you're going to get tased. And the guards run straight up to the staircase, and they lock a whole rack of dudes up. 2 of them slid out of the 7. 2 got up out of there and went on their merry way and ended up not getting locked up. But 5 of them got locked up, ATL got locked up, and Delicious gets locked up. They got a whole gang of dudes going up out of there, going to the hole for this huge rumble that just took place. Now, as the boy's going at the pod, he's making the most noise out of everybody. Everybody else is kind of trying to be quiet and trying to, act like nothing happened. The guards came in. The fight was still taking place. So you got Delicious. Man, y'all put y'all's hands on me. You put your hands on me. Y'all had to jump because one-on-one, I'd have done this, I'd have done that. ATL don't say nothing, but he's super lumped up. They carry him off to the hole. Now, another dude comes out the hole a couple weeks later and is telling us how all these gang members in the hole is screaming down to ATL, telling him, you got to come out the hole when we see you. It's smash on sight. You're going to fold your flag, which means you have to denounce your gang. You're no longer in it. You're being kicked out. You're going to cover them tattoos up. But they can't get to each other. They said ATL's in the cell telling my son, y'all jumped me one-on-one. You definitely couldn't see me, and you couldn't see me. Now, this is all inmate.com. This is another inmate telling us what's going on in the hole. So we said, well, ATL's got to come out the hole. The boys got to come out the hole. We said, nah. They shipped ATL. They shipped him. They move him out this jail and send him to another jail, I guess, to separate him from this, because now he can't come back out in population. He's a known gang member who just got caught creeping with the boy. These dudes just got caught jumping him and the boy, so he's got to go. Now, it's crazy how life works out. I never thought I'd hear his name again. Never thought I'd see him again. I thought that would be the end of it. Dun, dun, dun. And then we get to receiving. I come in, I got my cellmate, I go up in there, I put my little stuff that I got. Not much, just what the prison gives you when you get there. You ain't got nothing when you get to prison. Jail don't let you take nothing. They throw all that stuff away except for your legal work. I go on in, and later that evening, it's a reenactment of what happened in the jail. Now, prison's much louder than jail is, but I hear it again. I hear that same trash-ass rapper voice. It's ATL. He's done got sentenced for his crimes. We'll get into that. And I hear him down at the door, and he's yelling out, hey, yo, you messing with it? You messing with it? You like that, Joe? You like it? And his homeboys them gassing him up. Yeah, that's what's up, blah, blah, blah. And he's at the door, and he's rapping. Now, you got another dude, a couple cells down that would join in. All right, let me get my 16 in. Let me slide my 16 in. All right, you go ahead. You hit the hook. And they beating on the door, right? Beating on the door. And these dudes will rap back and forth. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this can't be life. This can't be real. There's no way I'd have ended up in receiving. Now, I haven't seen him at this point, but I know who that is. There's no mistaking that voice. There's no mistaking who he is. He's loud, he's obnoxious, and his voice is very distinct. He's not from VA. They call him ATL for a reason. He's from another state, and he's got a very country voice, right? Now, when you first get to receiving or the reception center, you stay on lock for a few days. Generally, it's about 5 days to 7 days till all your blood work comes back and they make sure you ain't got nothing to give to nobody else. You're going to stay locked in that cell. Well, he was already out moving around every day. I watch him from my door, walk around with the other dudes. Here's the thing. They don't know what happened in jail. Nobody from the jail came here with him, so he's still claiming that gang. Still gang all day, right? And then word gets sent down. I don't know if somebody from the jail showed up. I don't know if they sent a kite. I don't know what happened. All I know is everything went from being hunky-dory, it was all peaches and cream, it was butterfly farts and glitter, to a reenactment of what happened in the jail. These dudes run up in the cell on him, they beat him all up, except this time they don't get caught doing it. This time they bust him up pretty good, to the point that when he comes out the cell after like a day or so to go use the phone, the guard in the control booth sees his face all banged up, calls him to the booth. Come here, what's going on? He's a known gang member. No denying, he just got the tattoos on his face. Oh, ain't nothing. I fell off the bunk. Famous words. I fell off the bunk. How many times did you keep climbing up there and falling over? Like you must have fell 20 times. You got lumps everywhere. He won't tell him what's going on. He denies that there's been any type of a fight. So once again, they do what they always do. They run the camera back. They see the guys go in the cell. One of the guys out of all the guys that went in there, and it was like 3 or 4 of these dudes, took credit for it. Now, we ain't jumping. Ain't nobody jumping. Now, they're going to lock everybody up. But this dude says, I did it. It was me. Over what? Don't matter. We got into it. We settled it. It's over. So now they lock him up. The other 3 dudes are on investigation. They let them back out onto the compound. And they lock ATL up. End of story, right? There's no way I'm going to see this dude again. From the jail, now we're in receiving. There's no possible way I'm going to see him again. I go on about my business. We fast forward. I get sent to the next prison. You go to reception center, which is receiving. Everybody hits one. They classify you according to your crime. And then, boom, from there they ship you on to the next one. I get to the next place. Tell me why. Please tell me why. When I come in, majority of guys are at rec. It's nice. It's summertime. Guys outside lifting weights, running the track, doing whatever they're doing. Going to the fence, trying to cop from other dudes. It's a whole lot that goes on in prison. It's another world. It's prison. So I make my bunk, put the little bit of stuff I got away. I ain't got much. You don't get there with much. Your property follows you. And as I'm making my bed, these dudes all start coming in. You can't make this up. I turn and look I hear the noise of somebody being in the same area as me. Now, we share what's called a cut. It's a small row in between 2 bunks. That's your cut. You share that with somebody else. I look over and it's ATL. We are now in the same prison again. And not only are we in the same prison, but we are in the same vicinity. This go round when I see him, there's something much, much different about him. Remember I told you he had a bald head and he kept a shirt on it? You can see the whole top. He had the drop top. Yeah, that was him. I look over this time and he's got a kufi on his head. You know what a kufi is? Something that Muslims wear on top of their head. It's religious. Soon as I see him, I say, "What's up, man?" And he looks at me, he goes, "Jay, right? You was in the jail?" "Yeah, I was in the jail." "You was also at the other?" "Yeah, I was at the other place." "What's up with you?" "Nothing, man. They smoked my boots." "Yeah? What they do to you?" "Man, people gave me 8 years." 21 years old, 8 years. I don't know what you did, but I'm sure I'm going to find out because now we share an area. We're going to talk. Unless you do something to just make me absolutely not like you, then I'm not going to speak to you. But we share a common area. We're going to be shoulder to shoulder, bumping into each other. "Excuse me, can I get in my locker? Hey, let me grab my stuff. I need to go to the shower." It's just me and him that share this little cut. Everybody shares a cut with one other person. That night rolls around. The dude next to me's got a TV. I kind of lay in the bunk, glimpsing over this TV, trying to kill time. No situations. But in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking of everything that I told y'all that took place. But what really stands out to me is he's Muslim now. He's got a kufi on his head. What happened at the last place, I know it's done followed him. It had to follow him. There's no way it didn't. So we get to talking one night. He's actually talking to the dude that sleeps above me, right? Them two are talking. And he's just going back. He's a young dude, man. He's been locked up now a good little minute. But he's telling the other dude little points about his life. And he tells him, I used to sell tree. I sold weed. And one day I sell this dude some weed. And the dude beats me out of my money. He runs back to his car and gets in the car with his girl. They go to pull out the parking lot, but another car pulls in front of them so they can't go around it. And his homeboy is with is the one that gives it to him and tells him, you need to go handle that. Get the money right now. Get the money or get the stuff back. He grabs the gun. He runs over to the car. Now, this part I don't believe. He said that he thought they were reaching for something. He shoots into the car. Doesn't hit the dude. Hits the girl. Doesn't take her life. She doesn't fade away, but he hits her. I think he said he hit her in the lower section. They end up trying to drive forward. They smash into the car in front of them. That car rolls up a little bit. This car backs up. He shoots into the car again, misses. They jet off. They go straight and tell the police what happened. Shortly after that, he's arrested. Registered firearm he had. Wasn't stolen. He was allowed to have it. But they get him of reckless handling of a firearm, discharging a firearm within city limits, malicious, just a whole bunch of charges. And then in the end, he gets hit with a couple of them. They stick. He gets 8 years for shooting the chick. Now, he's not doing all the rapping he was doing. He still does his music. He'll still click up with somebody and put down what he calls his Hot 16, right? Garbage. But he's not as obnoxious as he was. So we get to talking one night. And I asked him, I said, so how did that happen? What you mean, what happened? I said, your transformation. Not following you. Transformation? Yeah, well, in the jail, you was blood. And now you're Muslim. From what I understood, at the last place, you was blood. But now you're Muslim. And he goes on to tell me when I was in the hole would be the first time I heard somebody really make salat. Salat is an Islamic prayer. I said, oh yeah, you never heard salat before? Never heard nobody make salat. Now, you won't hear a lot of that in jail, not out here, but when you get to prison, you're going to hear guys calling out to God, making their prayer, right? I said, okay. He said, the dude's next to me in the cell. He said, so we end up talking through the door, and I converted to Islam. I became Muslim. That's my Muslim brother. These are my Muslim brothers. Whatever makes you a better man, I support. You heard me say it. I don't care what your religion is. If it makes you a better man, I support it. So like clockwork, 5 times a day, him and the other Muslims would go, take their shoes off, put their prayer rugs down, and they would make salat. I respect it. But they have no clue of what's going on with this dude. Now, the place we were at where he got jumped, there's a whole entire building strictly for the hole. You're talking probably 100 cells just to house inmates in the hole because it's that violent. It's that turned up. There are that many people getting locked up that they need an entire building to house these inmates, right? So they put him on one floor, them on another, and then he ends up getting shipped just like I got shipped, just like everybody eventually gets shipped. Now, the Muslim dudes don't know about the homosexual activity in the jail. They know about his gang affiliation, but from what I understand, what ends up coming out is that he told them he just wanted a better way of life. He didn't tell them about the folding the flag and being denounced from the gang and put out the gang. So they're under the impression that he's just leaving the gang to become a part of Islam. So he gets enrolled in these classes. And every day he has to leave our building, and it's a good little walk. It's probably 200-300 feet down to another building where they hold the classes. He's coming back one day, and they got a whole bunch of new guys coming in. And in that group of new guys is another guy from the jail. A guy that was actually there, that was part of the whole situation where they ran up in the cell and put hands on him. And for whatever reason, nothing transpires right there on the boulevard, but they run across each other. And this dude tries to make it like everything's kosher. The gang dude, I guess, don't want to draw no attention, sees him with the kufi on, stops him, they talk for a brief minute. And he comes back into the pod. He's got his homeboy at the end of the bunk, not in our cut, but at the end of the bunk. And he's telling him, man, I ran into a dude I was in the jail with that I had problems with. He's not telling them why he had problems. He still is not admitted to his homosexual activities. And they tell him, well, if it's a problem, we'll deal with that when the problem comes. Remain humble. Talk to the man. Don't try to let there be an issue. You're smarter than that. I hear all this. I'm sitting on my bunk. By now, I've got my TV. It's sitting there. And I hear this whole discussion of dude from the jail has now landed on this compound. So we all go to rec. Now, we have individual yards and we have one big rec yard where everybody goes out on. And I've seen it. I've seen it for what it is because I've done this enough times to know when somebody's trying to duck the rec. But on this day in particular, the Muslim dudes telling we're going to make salat on the yard, which means it's mandatory to go outside. You can't duck going outside. Your ass ain't been outside now in about 2 weeks because you know old boys out there. You know old boys mobbed up with the gang members. In this building I'm in at the time did not have a ton of gang members in here. Now, I don't know if they just hadn't sent word yet or they wanted to get him out on the yard where they could make a display of what was going on. Whatever the case is, it hasn't gotten out yet about what happened in the jail. And please believe I was waiting. So they go out there, and it's a bunch of Muslims now. You're talking 25, 30 Muslims coming from different buildings and all going to the exact spot where they're going to pray. They make their prayer. ATL walks around the track with one of his homeboys, and I see it when it happens. The gang members go ahead and cut over there in that direction. Not all of them, but enough of them to know, let you know that there's about to be a situation. Now, they'll walk in groups of 15. That's not uncommon. It's not uncommon to see 20, 25 of them walking. Now, they're not walking on the track like he is. They cut straight across the field as to cut off his path. And they walk up on him. I'm far, far away, watching the whole thing unfold, and a scuffle begins right down the yard. They jump him. His Muslim brother jumps in. They jump him as well. And before it can turn into a full melee, like I've seen situations with the Bloods and the Muslims before where it just turns into an all-out war. At this time, these guards stay deep on this yard. There have been a whole lot of situations in a short period of time. So if they're going to let us on the yard, they're going to put a bunch of guards out there. And no sooner this fight takes place, here comes the guards. They're running straight to the fight. They get in the middle of it, laying dudes down on the ground. Everybody else goes on back in their building while they take care of the situation. The guard tells them the two Muslim brothers didn't do anything. They were walking and they were attacked by the gang members. So they locked them up. Now when they get in the building, he's got knots on him. His homeboy's got scratches on the side of the face from where he hit the rocks. The Muslims are pissed off. They all get together and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And the one Muslim tells them, we got jumped because he was engaged in a homosexual activity. They put him out the gang because he was being gay. You ain't never tell none of us that. So now he's turned up, was just kicking it with him, just got jumped with him, and because he got jumped, he now wants to fight with him. This I can respect. A lot of y'all might disagree with me for what I'm about to say. The one dude that he fell under, the dude that taught him the most knowledge when it came to the Quran and Islam and the whole religion, as everybody squatted up in the back of the pod, determining and trying to figure out what are we going to do. If we're going to go to war with these dudes, we're going to rumble. They just jumped two of ours. You know what he says? We're not going to do nothing. I know the dude that runs them. I'm going to holler at him. What are we going to do about him? He can't be Muslim being... And you know what dude says? What he did before he came to Allah is of not our concern. It's what he does while he's with Allah and the nation of Islam that matters. We're not going to run down on him for the sins he committed prior to coming into Islam. We're not. And we're not going to pass judgment. You should have seen the look on dudes' faces. Now, dudes kind of, I don't want to say worship, but they idolize this dude, and he's a big boy. It would probably take 5 of them to try to drop him. He asked them, we got an understanding? Yeah, we got an understanding. They go out on the yard a couple days later. Now they're deep. Now there's no ATL and one dude walking. It's all these Muslim dudes in the crowd. And you got all these blood dudes on the yard that know this is coming. And we think exactly what y'all are probably thinking. This big-ass fight's about to pop off. They walk over there. Muslim dude tells the big blood homie. When I say the big blood homie, this is the dude that runs all these little bloods on his compound, that this is dead. He's done been jumped several times. By now, he's covered up the gang tattoos on his face. He's no longer claiming blood. How long is this going to take place? We can bang out and get all of ours locked up. Y'all can bang out and get all y'all's locked up. And the man is still going to exist. He's no longer claiming that, man. I don't know if it was a mutual respect the blood had for the Muslim dude or what the case was, but everything died down right then and right there. I tell y'all, right, I would like some of these stories to have a good ending and just stop, but this isn't where the story ends. By far, this isn't where the story ends. Right before I leave this place, right before I go home, a new boy shows up. There are lots of boys. Boy is a term for homosexual, trans, somebody that gets down with other men. That's more of the female in the relationship. That's what we call a boy. Right before I go home, a new boy hits the compound. An infamous boy hits the compound. And I would say roughly a week or so after that boy hits the compound, ATL gets caught smoking cigarettes out in the yard. They catch him with tobacco in his possession. They lock him up. Now, the guards are supposed to come in and bag up all your property, but they allowed his Muslim brothers to bag up all his property. And as they were bagging up his property, they come across a letter he had written that I guess he was going to give to the new boy that just got in the pod. And before he could give it to him, he got caught out on the yard doing some stuff he shouldn't have been doing, hanging over in the corner, not with his Muslim brothers, with some other dudes he knew, smoking cigarettes, got his dumb ass locked up. And in the midst of packing this stuff up, they find this love letter he wrote to the boy. Now, what the outcome is going to be, I don't know. I'd love to talk to some of my dudes and then say, hey, what happened with the ATL situation? The guards took him to the hole. Now he's got to come back out and face these Muslim brothers. They done stood up for him, ready to go to war behind him, accepted him for everything that he was and had become, only to find out sometimes you can't change a zebra stripes. Sometimes we just are who we are. That's a story of how he got caught and put out of a prison gang. With all that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. I enjoyed making the video. Sorry about the hiatus. It happens. Life takes over. And when it does, you just go with the flow. ATL, if you see this, man, no offense. Didn't mean to, I could have put your real name out there. I didn't. So I would just not tell anybody, hey, that story's about me. Dudes will do that. But I hope y'all enjoyed today's stories. With all that being said, these prisons, these jails, these institutions, they're all just crazier worlds inside of a already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Oh, you're not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams, Let's Live Life. And to all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. Man, y'all know how we do. Salute.